And welcome back. That was Reavers versus Space Violence, with Reavers taking out a commanding win. Moving into the final rounds with Space Violence, they'll need to win their next game to move into the finals as well for a rematch in game number 16. Now, Gommel, we saw a lot of EWAR being used by Ash's team, but it wasn't ECM. It was missile disruption and tracking disruption.
Yeah, definitely saw a lot of that. It was being spread around pretty well, and that's something that I've noticed whenever I've flown with Asher. He's always really good at making sure that ECM is evenly distributed against the opposing team, and that's something we saw a repeat of just now.
Yeah, for a lot of pilots, when you're competing in a tournament like this, you already have a massive amount of things to think about, and sometimes you actually miss like the graphics that are telling you that you've been weapons disrupted and missile disrupted and those sorts of things. It can really mean the difference between doing your full amount of DPS and theoretically none. The next match is V4 I'm sorry guys, Vader versus Bomberwolf. So what do you think we can see from them, Kiala?
Well, I had originally discounted V4 and the match that we saw earlier today definitely proved me wrong. Whether they have enough oomph to be able to take on DBRB and Bomberwaffe, that's something that it will remain to be seen. They are going to be outnumbered, looks like 7-6.
It'll be interesting to see the rematch between Vader and Bomberwolf. We'll see.
Yeah, let's have a look. So the previous Vader and Bomberwolf match, Vader brought a command ship fleet with the Claymore and Sleipnir. Bomberwolf brought the Balgorn and Fleet Hurricane. And they started off by primarying the Scimitar. It would be interesting to see if Vader switch up what they've got. I don't actually remember what they flew in the match against Buttink earlier today. Do you remember what that was, Moomin?
Oh gosh, no, I don't remember the last 3 minutes ago, to be honest with you.
Just like a goldfish, yeah?
Sorry, who?
Okay, so look, I think that's going to be another interesting match. Like Vader brought their A game earlier today, and Bomberwolf have been pretty much consistently good at internet spaceships. They did lose to Space Violence earlier, but that's the only game that they've actually lost.
It does help that DBRB doesn't have to do things like manage silos or get a fleet through gates. So not having those things to distract him, I think, will be immeasurably helpful to his own team.
Yeah, no, there were some people in the channel wanting to know if Boat was just basically yelling on Mumble while the matches were going on, but I guess it's anybody's guess. Personally, I don't mind listening to the Big Red Boat. It's soothing to me.
I'll tell you, it's some of the funnest fleets I'm on, so I love when he goes crazy on the comms. It's great.
Yeah, but it's one of those people that is like, he's either like, you either love him or you hate him, I guess. But you do get people who just won't go on his fleets. But for me, I reckon he's a great guy, and he does a lot for the Imperium as far as running fleets and creating content goes. So I'm very happy with that. Now we're joined in the studio by Borox. Now Borox, you flew on Industrial Obliterator's team, Thunderstruck. You want to go over what was actually happening there? Because you guys only fielded 3 or 4 pilots for both of the matches. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, we only had 3 pilots for each of the matches. Some of the guys hadn't decided to set it up in time for the tournament, and the rest I'd rather forget, to be honest.
The second match that you guys had was looking quite interesting. Obviously, you guys had quite a bit of a handicap, but those battleships did last for quite a while.
Yeah, we decided to go for brick tank them and just hope to take out their logi. To be honest, we'd have been happy if we got a draw in there. And we're really happy with the result we got lasting so long. I mean, considering there were 3 of us and 6 of them, I'm quite happy, and that's why I think Vader might be on the back foot for this next match. V4 sorry.
Yeah, so it is, it is difficult, especially in the time zone that you're in. For me, it's waking up at 2 to 2:30 in the morning and getting onto Discord and logging in and then talking about internet spaceships for 4 hours until the sun comes up. So for a lot of pilots, it is difficult just because of the time zone changes, and for a lot of people in the Australian time zone, it does cause an issue because most of these things happen during the night. Like even things like the '07 show, the Alliance tournament, pretty much everything happens while we're asleep. So it is a little bit more effort from people around Australia and Japan and those sorts of places to actually get online to play when these things are happening. But at least for myself, it's worth it to get up and actually do these things. So the next match will be coming up in about 2 minutes, and we're just discussing the match between Vader and Bomberwolf. Moomin, who do you think is going to take this one? I think that Bomberwolf is probably going to win this one.
Well, I'm going to go with V4 simply because they're a little more unknown. So and we know I've got to think about like the underdogs. So I know that boat gets a lot of support, like generally throughout the Imperium. So yeah, I'm going to go for V4. They're showing up. I mean, they've got this far, so they must be doing something right. So hopefully they'll come through.
You got any predictions there, Kiala? I guess not. What about you, Gomer?
If I had to throw down a prediction, just looking at the team comps, I'd say DBRB's team, Bomber Wafa, has a slight advantage. Don't want to give away too much. I'll wait for you guys to see what the team comps are, but looking at it on paper, I'd say that Bomber Wafa has a slight advantage here, and it looks like they're starting to land.
And hello again. On the red team, which is V4, we have a Fleet Typhoon, a Balgon, a Neros, Orthrus, Purifier and Hound, only 6 men. And on the blue team,
we've got a Balgorn, a Neros, a Fleet Hurricane, a Rook, first time in the show for that, Daredevil, Purifier, and a Hound.
It's actually the second time for the Rook. Boat bought one his last match as well. So that's the second time we've seen one, yeah. So we've got both teams kind of like set up. V4, they're a little bit off the actual beacon there, and they've got the Fleet Typhoon and the Balgon leading up front with their support ships and DPS a little bit behind.
And off we go with that Balgorn being target painted right away.
Yeah, an interesting call there, but we're also seeing quite a lot of kind of E-War effects coming through. The Fleet Typhoon definitely getting a fair bit of attention for V4 team. We're also seeing that Daredevil of Gator Grips taking a bit of damage over on the Bomberwolf team.
Yeah, and it looks like some of the jams are landing over on V4 as well, so we'll see how that affects what they're able to do to the Bomberwolf gangs.
Yeah, there again is like Bomberwolf, massive control bar there, and most of that actually being used. Probably a great deal actually coming from that Rook as well. But it looks like both teams have actually opted to go for the main kind of like battleships on each respective team. So at the moment we've got team captain versus team captain.
Well, it looks like they took that Hound out.
Yeah, very
so
much so. So Noggins has already taken a hit, and they're working on the purifier now as well. This could be like, relatively dangerous for V4 Dur. They need to do something to actually start to claim back a bit of control. Daredevil of Gator Grips has just fallen by the wayside now as well. That would have been doing some of the tackle. So we'll have to see where we go now. And that Rook is starting to take damage as well.
Yeah, and they didn't really get that purifier down, so we'll see where they're moving. But they still get a pretty heavy control bar, each team.
I'd say, it's literally neck and neck there. It's sort of like V4 Dur 1 point ahead, and that control bar has dropped off quite considerably from Bomberwolf.
It has. It looks like they're really working on that Rook at this time.
Yeah, and that's a good call as well. As much as the E-War modules there, the ECM, as much as they can be hit and miss, if they do hit, it can be really quite devastating, particularly if it's applied through to the Logi ship or mainline damage ships. It just kind of kills you.
Yeah, and the Bomberwolf team is putting a good bit of E-War against the Oniris of Resnar.
Yeah, exactly. And they're webbed as well, and they are being muted, and all of those kind of normal effects you would expect to see. But they're holding at this time, so that Rook on Bomberwolf, Flume Sky, still taking damage. Looks like it's getting in trouble. Buttfresh is being neutered, and there goes that Rook. So it's like V4 Dur are now commandingly in the lead on points at least. We'll have to see whether or not they can keep that going.
Yeah, we'll see. Looks like they're going to work on that Hurricane and get some of the DPS off the field as well.
Absolutely, is the Fleet Hurricane of Romanon. If that's the next one to take a fall there, then that really does mean that V4 Dur end up in a relatively commanding position. We're seeing the Newts go back onto the Aneros of Buttfresh, and it's also got damps on and webs as well. So V4 Dur really effectively using their E-War there.
Yeah, and everybody moving pretty good clip over on V4 Dur's team as well. And we've got a lot of grappling and a lot of webbing going on against the Bomberwolf, so that's not a good thing. It looks like that Hurricane's going to go, and there it is.
Absolutely. So, it's really starting to look positive now for V4 Dur. 30 points to 3, and they're just systematically picking apart Bomberwolf.
They are, and that purifier just took a pretty heavy hit with no E-War on it as well. So if that purifier goes, I think it's all over.
I think it's the Aneros is already kind of crippled to a fair degree. So they're just going to be working on that Aneros. Balgorn though in trouble. Wolfpack over on V4 Dur. So we're going to see whether or not they can recover from that, or whether or not it was a little bit of bait tanking. It's going to be mainly those bombers, I would imagine, applying most of the damage out to that Balgorn.
Yeah, but I don't think those bombers are going to survive much without the Oniris that just went down as well. So
exactly. So now they're probably going to be looking to pick off those purifiers. We've got the webs and the grappler on Wheels UK, and yeah, there we go. 1 hound. So 3 Neil is down, and there goes Wheels UK. Just boat left now, and no one's mocking him in local, which is surprising.
Oh, no. There's not been a lot of that going on. This has been a pretty cool tournament.
Yeah, it has. It's been remarkably cordial so far. So, surprising and maybe disappointing.
Yeah, it's a tough match. Certainly did not go the way I thought it was going to go when I saw these ships land on the grid. So, yeah, kudos to V4 Dur. They put up a heck of a fight. Exactly.
It's like they came in with one less team member, but just the way that they were able to kind of initially take out Gator Grips, and then they started to work on the Rook, I seem to remember was next. Those were both good calls, and it's once they'd actually taken out those two elements, things were really starting to go uphill for Bomberwolf there, I'm afraid. So we've got boat just he's not going very fast at all. Not long for this world, and that's that's going to be the end of the match there.
Yeah, it was a pretty quick match. Much longer than I thought. Much shorter than I thought it was going to be.
And not bad at all. It's like V4 there, convincing win there.
And welcome back. That was Vader V4 Durr versus Bomberwolf with actually a surprise win for me. It looked like Bomberwolf had it, but then their Rook and Oneros decided to go sit on the face of the Vader Balgorn. I'm not sure if that was a smart move or not. What are your thoughts on that, Borax?
Well, I'm surprised by the result as well. I thought that Vader were going to get owned by Bomberwolf after Bomberwolf's last performance. It seemed strange, but I'd noticed that there seemed to be far more E-War on the Bomberwolf side than there was on the Vader side.
I think that was mostly from the Rook, because the Rook was probably fielding at least 6 mid slots of ECM. But and this is the thing about ECM, is that it is relatively hit and miss. But if you leave ECM ships like a Rook on the field, they will wreak havoc with whatever your fleet is doing.
As you know, I'm a great fan of E-War, and personally I'd have taken out the Rook as soon as possible, which of course is what Vader did. It was a very strange match, strange result.
Yeah, it looked like I think it was at the start of the match, Vader was very much busy shooting boats Balgorn, while Bomberwolf ran around and killed a couple of bombers early, and then lost their I don't think it was a Dramiel, I think it was a Daredevil, was it?
Yeah.
All right, and we're going to go for a bit of a recap before we head to the break. Let's have a look at day one, Vader versus Buttsink. That was Vader taking out Buttsink in the first match, and that was a bit of a commanding win as well. But obviously they're now going into game 15, and they're going to be fighting against Space Violence. So the only match that Space Violence has lost is their match against Reavers, and the winner of that Vader versus Space Violence match will go on to fight Reavers in game 16. If Reavers win that game, they will win the tournament. If the winner of Vader and Space Violence match beat Reavers, they'll go on to another match in game 17, sort of like a bit of overtime, as Reavers are currently undefeated. The winners of game number 12 was Wildly Inappropriate. Sorry, no, it wasn't. It was Bomberwolf. Bomberwolf won that match and absolutely obliterated the Wildly Inappropriate team. How did you like that match, Moomin? Oh, you don't remember because it's like 3 minutes ago.
Yeah, God, you could just ask me about the one that we had, and the way that I kind of went and predicted V4 Durr were going to win. That was the ones that I was putting my money on if we actually gambled, and they came through. It's like they did the job.
So you're the only one in the room that wasn't surprised that Vader won the match then?
That's it. I just put it down to with their no, I'm not even going to say that. I caught so much kind of flack yesterday from like saying things. I'm not going to say anything.
Awesome. Let's have a look here. So yeah, I thought that was a really close match, and it could have gone either way for a lot of the time. And then really just in the last minute or so.
Okay, I think Reavers under Russia have got to be looking favourites right now. They're putting very strong showing.
All right, friends, I'm just going to check real quickly. Sorry, Eric, you had something to say?
No, go ahead.
I'm just going to check really quickly with Skeptic. I think we may need to do a quick stream reboot, and we'll be back for game number 15 at 21:10, which is only about 12 minutes away.